In this video, I'm going to be talking about 5 things that the police frequently say to alleged domestic violence victims that I think should be illegal. My name is Veronica. I am a criminal defense attorney here in California, and I help people put their criminal cases behind them so that they can enjoy their lives and their freedom. And again, in this video, I'm going to be going through examples of 5 different things that the police say to alleged domestic violence victims when they are called out. There's a 911 call, they come out to the house, and they're talking both to the alleged victim, the alleged accuser. They separate them, they're questioning them, and especially when the alleged victim does not want to cooperate, they can lie to them, they can threaten them. And so many of these things that they say to these alleged victims, to me, are unconscionable, they're manipulative, and they shouldn't be allowed. Okay, so let's jump right into it. If you don't tell us the truth, we'll have to contact Child Protective Services and have your kids taken away. Okay, so this is actually from a real case that I had where, actually, before I ever even spoke to the client, the call that I got was from the alleged victim. They had been in an argument. A neighbor called the police came out, and she didn't want to say anything against her fiance. He hadn't done anything. Yes, they had a loud argument, but she hadn't been abused. And the police got her to make incriminating statements, which the DA then sought to use at trial. We won, by the way. So the police threatened to take her children away, said that it was child abuse if she was lying to them, and the only way that they were going to let her out of it and not take her kids away was to say that he had hit her. And so she did. What else was she supposed to do? Later, by the time I represented him, he agreed that that was the right decision. If the kids were going to be taken away that night, he would rather go to jail and have this criminal case against him than have the kids taken away, put in foster care. And in fact, one of the cops made a comment to her about how her daughter, who was 3 or 4 at the time, was really pretty, implying basically that she was going to be sexually assaulted if she was put into foster care. So she makes the incriminating statements, they get their arrest, they open up a criminal case, and then they call Child Protective Services anyway. Luckily, Child Protective Services came out, saw that there was nothing wrong, and dropped the whole case. Lie number 4. We're going to have to arrest one of you. Is it going to be him or is it going to be you? Now, this presents a false dichotomy. I mean, actually, the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office and LAPD were so embarrassed by the O.J. Simpson case that they have sort of made it their mission, if there's a domestic violence call, to arrest one person or the other. But they don't have to. They don't have to arrest someone. If they show up and there is no evidence that a crime was committed, they shouldn't be arresting anyone. Now, it's true that they might really be choosing, is it going to be him or is it going to be you? If they are threatening the victim when they're asking her, hey, tell us the truth about what happened. Oh no, not that truth. Here's a threat, and then, tell us the truth again, but this time make it better. How are we ever going to rely on their statements? How are we ever going to convict that person? If they are threatening the victim, and that's why she made the statement, any decent attorney will be able to get the case dropped at trial. Of course, you have to go through all of that and go to trial. But what's the point? And if we are viewing this from the perspective of we want to help domestic violence victims, what good does it do victims to give these coerced statements that ultimately aren't going to likely lead to a conviction anyway? It makes it harder to figure out who is actually a victim and who is not. And let's say that she is telling the truth. She's been pressured into doing it by these lies, by this manipulation by the police, but she's pressured into telling the truth, and she really was abused. Well, if the case gets thrown out and then she makes an accusation again, how seriously is she really going to be taken? In fact, she'll probably see that, there's no point in making an accusation because it's just going to be thrown out. It really doesn't help anyone. Number 3. If you won't cooperate, we'll have no choice but to charge you with obstruction of justice. It's not obstruction of justice to tell the police something that is not what they are looking for or what they want to hear. And they shouldn't be telling you that it is, but they do all the time. Number 2. We've noticed you have a bit too much to drink tonight. Without your cooperation, we may have to take you in for public intoxication. Now, you wouldn't want that kind of record, would you? I've never heard of anyone throughout the course of my 10 years of doing this who was actually charged with public intoxication, although it's been threatened. If they actually arrested you for public intoxication, the chances of the district attorney actually filing a case against you for that, for just being drunk, at your house when they show up and they tell you to come on outside, are almost nothing. But if you're worried about keeping your criminal record clean and they tell you this, then you may feel like, man, you know what? I'm just going to tell them what they want to hear because I can't have a criminal record. Maybe my partner already does have one, or I have a job where I can't have a criminal record. For him, maybe it doesn't matter as much, or you know what? I don't like him that much anyway. I was planning to break up with him, so I'm just going to tell the police what they want to hear. I mean, this happens all the time because of these tactics that the cops are allowed to use. Number 1. We've already received a statement from your neighbor saying that they saw everything. If your story doesn't match theirs, we're going to have to assume that you're the one at fault. We wouldn't want to have to arrest you. Come on, the police are questioning her, and they're saying, we think that you're the alleged victim, tell us what happened, we're on your side. And then they switch, and they're like, hey, the neighbor saw everything, and maybe you're the one at fault. I mean, the logic really doesn't follow here, but if you're in this situation, many times it's late at night, you were in, an argument, yelling match maybe with your partner, and the police say something like this to you, you're going to feel scared, you're going to feel intimidated, and you may say something that either isn't true or you didn't want to say, and you don't have to tell the police anything. I mean, that's what kills me about all of this. You don't have to tell the police anything at all if you don't want to, whether you are the alleged victim or whether you are the person who's being accused. And in these domestic violence situations, it gets muddled a bit. Who are the police actually investigating? They show up and frankly, they don't know. Many times they're going to zero in on the man, but if the woman stays quiet and the man says, you know what, she hit me. It wasn't that I didn't hit her, she hit me, because they told him, hey, you either tell us the truth, she's not telling us anything, otherwise we're just going to take you in. He may make a statement that is completely untrue. I mean, it can happen to anyone, no matter how smart you are, no matter how feisty you are. And that alleged victim in the case that I told you about in the first one that I described, number 5, she was as feisty as they come, but she was also a fiercely protective and really great mother, and she wanted to make sure that nothing happened to her kids. It's really shocking how these domestic violence cases that, this is a crime because the idea is that we want to protect the abused. We want to protect, families. We want to protect innocent people, but that's not really how they're treated. And if you were in one of these situations, you have probably seen that firsthand. Now, if you do have a criminal case in California, or if you're the alleged victim in a domestic violence case and you want help with that, give me a call. I can help you. You can find my number down below. You can also find a link there to book a consultation with me. And if you did find this video helpful, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and ring the bell.